Glory to Jesus Christ. Joyous feast of the exaltation of the precious and life-giving cross. Deacon Lazarus of the St. Gregory the Enlightener Institute, and this is an Orthodox Minute. I'm actually driving down the road in my car right now, just to show that any time can be a good time for an Orthodox Minute, and to talk about our holy faith. Today is the feast of the exaltation of the precious and life-giving cross. Today, this feast, obviously is about the cross, has three primary focuses: discovery, elevation, and recovery. First, discovery. After our Lord's crucifixion, once the Christian faith began to spread, in the early 2nd century, one of the pagan emperors decided it would be very beneficial and to paganism and very destructive to Christianity to destroy this place that had become a place of veneration, and that is Golgotha, or Calvary, where our Lord was crucified. Golgotha, of course, means the place of the skull, and this was a place just outside the gates of Jerusalem where our Lord and others who were considered enemies of the Roman state were crucified. And so, as I said, the site had become a place of veneration, and so it was destroyed. Whatever edifices of veneration that had been erected were leveled, and a pagan temple dedicated to the pagan goddess Venus was erected over the site. Fast forward to the conversion of Constantine, Saint Constantine as we know him, equal to the apostles because of that is a title that Saint Constantine received because of his immense work and immense accomplishments that he was able to do in the name of Christ to spread Christianity throughout the Roman Empire. Just remember, though, St. Constantine, with the Edict of Milan, was not the occasion of proclaiming Christianity to be the official state religion. That is a misnomer. That's a wrong idea, and that's a misstatement. The Edict of Milan, all it simply did was legalize Christianity. All it simply did was make a law that Christians could no longer be killed for their faith. Okay, so that was in 312. And what precipitated that was St. Constantine was going into a great battle against one of his enemies, Maximus, and who was a fierce persecutor of Christians, by the way. And in the night, Constantine prayed to our Lord Jesus Christ for strength and for victory. And the heavens were open, and a cross appeared in the sky. And the words came with the cross from our Lord: "In this sign you shall conquer." St. Constantine did not ignore this divine revelation. He encouraged his soldiers, his army, with the words that he himself had received from heaven. He encouraged them to put the sign of the cross on their shields, on their banners, their standards, etc. And, of course, they were victorious. Following the victory came the legalization of Christianity and the fierce and destructive and diabolical persecution, horrible tortures all of this was stopped with the coming to power of St. Constantine. And immediately, his mother, who was secretly a Christian all along, began to search out the holy places that our Lord had been and done his great miracles. And one of the most important places, of course, was the place of his crucifixion, Golgotha, of which it was well known that this temple to Venus had been built over it. Period. So, at that point, the pagan temple was torn down, excavations took place, and 3 crosses were found. Not surprisingly, because there were 3 that were crucified, two thieves with our Lord, who was the third. 3 crosses were found, and the Patriarch of Jerusalem at the time, or the Bishop of Jerusalem, was Saint Macarius. And so Macarius was there when they found the crosses, and they put a corpse, a dead body, next to each of the crosses. And when they put it next to the true cross, of course, the dead man or boy regained his life. And this made it clear that this was the cross of our Lord, the instrument of our salvation. And so at that point, that was the discovery. And many Christians came from around the world to venerate this cross. And at one point, Saint Macarius, the Patriarch or Bishop of Jerusalem, elevated the cross. He raised it up for veneration, and that's where we get the second title of the feast, the Elevation of the Cross. And that is the typical icon of this feast that you will see. You will see the icon of Saint Macarius holding the cross upwards, and all of the church gathered around. Of course, he was a bishop. This was in the 4th century, early 4th century, and of course, the church has always had bishops. It's always had clergy, and it's always venerated holy things from the time of the apostles. And here is the image, and you see Saint Macarius there lifting the cross, and you see Saint Helena or Helen there at the bottom, and you see deacons and clergy and monastics and faithful. The entire church is represented, and rulers. They're all there gathered around and venerating the precious and life-giving cross. And then lastly, the rediscovery was in the 7th century, I believe, the 600s. The Persian king Khosroes won a decisive battle against the Byzantine, the Eastern Romans, and they seized the precious and life-giving cross, the true cross, and took it to mock Christianity and Christians. We are called worshippers of wood, by the non-Christians of that area, and also some of the Muslims and Zoroastrians that were there at the time. So they took the cross, and eventually there was another battle, and the Byzantine emperor of the time, again, they won another battle. They reclaimed the precious and life-giving cross, the true cross, and upon its return to Constantinople, there was much acclaim, much celebration, and this is the third theme of today's feast. Now, it's important to know that that the cross became synonymous with the emperor,